Welcome to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to be ranking the top 10 best looking special illustration rares or SIRs from Prismatic Evolutions. This list will be very Eevee heavy, as you probably have already guessed, but not all the evolutions have made my top 10. So if you want to know how I would rank all the Eevee cards, just use this list coming up. However, the two Eevee cards that didn't quite make my list were the Flareon and Jolteon, so if it was an Eevee list, the Flareon will be 8th and the Jolteon will be at 9th. To put these cards in order from 1 to 10, I chose the top 10 cards that I liked the most and put them against each other and compared them to each other. I didn't specifically go, I like this one the most and this one and so on. I compared each other against each other and gave them a point to the one I preferred. So for example, Leafeon versus Umbreon, and the one I liked the most would get the points, and then the same for every card in the top 10. Therefore, the card with the most amount of points after each comparison will be number 1, so the card can score will be 9 out of 9, and then they'll be put into a order depending on what score they got. Unfortunately, for those of you who do like the trainer cards, no trainer card has made my list, but I may do a video in the future ranking the trainer cards. But before we get into the video, I'm giving away a Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon Center ETB, and to get involved in this giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, go back to this video that you see on screen now. There is also a link in the description which you can get there quicker. Give it a like and leave a comment saying which SIR card in this set is your favourite. You also can have a second entry into this giveaway by going over to my Instagram and following the instructions on this post which you see on the screen. You can be anywhere in the world to enter this. I'll cover shipping to wherever you are, and the draw will be done when I hit 1000 subscribers on YouTube, so in order to get there quicker, share this video with your friends so they can enter too. So the card coming at number 10 with a score of only 1 out of 9 is the Eevee EX. But just because it only scored a 1 out of 9 doesn't mean I don't look at this card. It is a gorgeous card. I did prefer it to one of the other cards that is higher up in this list, but because of the scoring of the other cards, this one would be in at 10th. Personally, I feel that the other Eevee that was in Terrestrial Festival was a much nicer looking card than this, and I feel like if that was in this set, it would be higher up in the list. But unfortunately, it's not. We are getting that as a promo in the UPC later in the year. When it comes to prices, here in the UK on eBay less sold, it's going for like £150 to £200. Personally, I feel when we have the restock and more supply hits the market and other products come out, I don't think this is going to be as expensive. I think it may be between £100 to £150. Personally, I don't think this looks as good as the one that came out in Twilight Masquerade. The Eevee in Twilight Masquerade was illustration rare, so it's probably easy to get your hands on. Here in the UK, the Eevee from Twilight Masquerade is going for around £80, but I feel like towards the end of the year, I think it'll probably be around both around the same price, maybe like 100, 150 each, but we'll see when the time comes. Then in at 9th place with a score of 2 out of 9, we have got the Raging Bolt EX, which I think is a really nice looking card, even though I do prefer the normal version of Raikou. And when it comes to the pricing over here in the UK, on eBay last sold, it's going from anywhere between £70 to £100, which I do feel is a fair price for this card. I would say by the end of the year, probably around an £80 to £90 card. When comparing it to the special illustration rare Raging Bolt EX from Temporal Forces, I do feel like the one from Prismatic Evolutions does look a lot better. There's more focus on the Raging Bolt, and overall I think it is a nicer card. The Temporal Forces Raging Bolt EX has been going for around £75, and by the end of the year I expect them to be at a similar price point, but I do expect the Raging Bolt from Prismatic Evolutions to be slightly higher. And then in the 8th spot with a score of 2 points, we have the Roaring Moon EX SIR. Even though this got the same score as the Raging Bolt, I did prefer this one to the Raging Bolt. This is why this one's higher. When it comes to its value, I was quite surprised how much it's going for. It's going between, well, anywhere between like 150 to 160. There are a few lower, but 150 is the main price point I can see it at on eBay. In comparison to the SIR of the Roaring Moon that came in Paradox Rift, I do prefer the one from Paradox Rift a lot more compared to the Prismatic Evolutions Roaring Moon. When I looked at the value of the Roaring Moon from Paradox Rift, I was quite surprised to see it only being £40, £110 cheaper than the one from Prismatic Evolutions, even though I do believe it is a better looking card. However, you do also have to take into consideration the pull rates, and I'd imagine it's a lot tougher to get it from Prismatic Evolutions than what it would be from Paradox Rift. But by the end of the year, I would expect the one from Prismatic Evolutions to be around the £100 mark, and the one from Paradox Rift to be around maybe like 70 to 80. But if I was to pick up one of these cards for myself, it would definitely be the one from Paradox Rift. And then in 7th place, with 4 points, we have got the Goldo EX. I know there's quite a few people who are not really a fan of this Pokemon or this card, but I think this is a really lovely looking card. I think the gold and blue look really nice together, and I think overall it's a good looking card. And then when it comes to the value of this card, I was quite surprised it's quite low compared to some of the others, with it being around £40 to £50 on last sold on eBay. I would have thought it might have been a little bit higher, maybe like 60 to 70. Then in comparison to the Goldengo we got from Paradox Rift, I think I do slightly like the one from Prismatic Evolutions, slightly more. And I was also a bit surprised to see that the Goldengo from Paradox Rift was only going for around £20 to £25, which I feel is a little bit low for it. So I do remember at the time it was going for about £40, but I can't remember exactly how long ago that was, but I do expect it to go back up to around that price by the end of the year. And I would probably say the one from Prismatic Evolutions might be up to around £70 by the end of the year, even though I definitely want to be looking to pick up. Then coming in at number 6 with a total of 4 points, we have the Leafeon EX. There are some people that might be surprised that this isn't higher up in the list, but when it came to comparing all the cards, this was one of the rare occasions where all the cards that was placed above it I preferred to this one, and then all the cards that was below it I preferred this one to them. But nevertheless, it's still a gorgeous card. I like how the pinks, the blues, the whites all work really well together, and it will be a fan favourite years to come. Then when it comes to how much it's going for around £250 to £300, but most around £300. It is on a higher end compared to some of the others. I do think there's going to be a couple of cards higher in this list that won't be as expensive as this. However, towards the end of the year, I don't think it's going to be costing this much. When more supply hits the market, I think this is going to come down quite a lot, to be honest. Comparing this to the Leafeon VMAX we got in Evolving Skies, I do feel like the Leafeon VMAX, the Auto, does look a lot better than the one in Prismatic Evolutions. And I was quite surprised to see that sale prices of the VMAX was around £180 to £190, and there have been sales as low as £90 on eBay. However, after looking into it further, those £90 sales were damaged cards, unfortunately, so you are looking around like £180 for the VMAX. Even then, I still think I prefer to pay the £180 for the Leafeon VMAX compared to the £300 for the Leafeon EX. However, I do expect the Leafeon EX to drop in value slightly. By the end of the year, I'll probably say around £250, and I expect the Leafeon VMAX to climb up to a similar price, £250 as well. And then in the 5th spot, with a total of 5 points, is one that might surprise a few that is this high on the list. We have the Vaporeon EX. I think this has got a really nice art style on the card. This is Vaporeon in front of a waterfall. It is probably one that people wouldn't expect to be this high on the list, but I quite like it, so it is where it is. When it comes to how much this one is selling for, it is a bit all over the place. It's going anywhere between £100 to just over £200. I would say £150 would be a fair price for this card, and I'd probably say probably reach £180 by the end of the year. And when you compare it to the Vaporeon VMAX, I would say the VMAX is a much nicer card, but the VMAX was a promo, so it's probably easy to get hands on, which probably explains why it is only a £40 card. But out of the two, I would definitely have the VMAX set if I had the choice. I would expect the VMAX to maybe double in price by the end of the year. And in that 4th, with a total of 5 points, we have the Leafeon EX. I quite like how Leafeon was right in the centre, like she's in the forefront of the card. All the spotlight's on her and brings out the beauty of Leafeon. And when it comes to the pricing over in the UK, we've had listings sell for £170 up to £240. I think £200 would be a fair price for this card. I expect that to be a similar price to where it will be at the end of the year. And then when you compare it to the Leafeon VMAX that came in Evolving Skies, I would say the VMAX from Evolving Skies looks a lot better than one for Prismatic Evolutions, which is a little bit of a theme in the card so far. I would say it's a bit disappointing that the cards from Prismatic Evolutions aren't as nice as some of the cards that come out previously, and I would expect these two to be about a similar price in the year, as the audio at a similar price at the moment, with Leafeon going around £180 to £240. And then taking 3rd place with a total of 6 points, we've got the Leafeon EX. Like the Leafeon card, I like how they put Leafeon in the centre, making her the focus of the card. Also with the Leafeon being in somewhat the natural environment, I think this is a gorgeous card. And then when it comes to the pricing, it seems to be going anywhere between £230 to like £280. I would say £250 would probably be a fair price for the card. I expect it to probably go a bit higher towards the end of the year, maybe £275 to £300 maybe. And then comparing it to the Leafeon VMAX from Evolving Skies, I think the one from Prismatic Evolutions does look better than the VMAX, which is probably one of the only cards that looks better than the card that came before it. The Leafeon VMAX has been going up in value recently. It's gone between 180 to 280. I expect it both to be around like £300 by the end of the year. Then in the second spot with 7 points, this one might be one that might surprise a few. A few people probably expect this to be number 1. But in second place we have got the Umbreon EX. Personally, I don't feel like this is as nice of a card that people are making it out to be. I feel like there's too much going on and it takes away from the actual quality of the Umbreon. But when we look at the recent sold, you can see it going anywhere between like £950 to just over £1,000, which personally I think is a bit too much. I wouldn't pay that much myself. I feel like £600 to £700 might be a fair price for it, but at the moment I wouldn't go spending this much money on it. I don't think there's much point. I do feel like it is a bit too much overpriced, to be honest. Although that is to be expected with Umbreon, it's a fan favourite Pokemon. We saw the same with the VMAX. And when we do compare it to the VMAX, I really do believe that the VMAX is a nice looking card, and that's more worth the value of what it is. It's around the same price really, going from between £900 to over £1,000 in England. But yet again, an older card I think is better than one from Prismatic Evolutions. And then taking the number 1 spot as the best looking card in Prismatic Evolutions, we have got the Espeon EX. When I compare this to all the other cards in the top 10, I prefer this to all the others. I don't know why, I just like this card the most out of the set. I feel that the pinks and purples go really nice together, and I just really like the card. And then looking at how much it's selling for over in the UK, it looks to be going for over like £200 to £250. I'd say that's probably a fair price. I don't think it's going to move too much. By the end of the year I expect it to be a similar price to what it is now. And then when we compare it to the Espeon VMAX from Fusion Strike, I would say I prefer the card from Prismatic Evolution slightly more. I don't know what it is about, I'm just more drawn to the Prismatic Evolutions Espeon. When it comes to the value of the Espeon VMAX, it's going for around 160 to 240. I'd expect that to go to like £300 by the end of the year, simply because it's an older card. So anyway guys, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought of my list. If you thought I missed any out, that should have been on there. Anyway guys, thank you for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and make sure you enter that giveaway.